Welcome. I'm Liz Taylor, ocean explorer, naturalist, and entrepreneur.
I'm Sylvia Earle. I'm an oceanographer, founder of Mission Blue, National Geographic explorer, and an ocean elder. Thank you, ocean elders, for sponsoring this program.
Yes, and this is our show, Dive In, where we host informal and open conversations with the ocean community on topics of wonder and interest. We're so glad to be back again for another season of Dive In, and I hope that everyone has made some time to get out of doors on the summer break. You can ask questions by putting them in the Q&A box, and later on we'll get through as many of them as we possibly can. And throughout the conversation, there'll be some links added in for your own research and interest. And as we get started, we want to remind everyone that the world
is blue.
And today we're going to be talking with Prince Hussain Aga Khan. He is an award-winning wildlife photographer who devotes most of his art to raising awareness about threatened species and the ecosystems that they rely upon. Over the past 30 years, his work has been included in major global exhibitions and in a number of books, resulting in an incredible image archive. Welcome, Prince Hussain.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hussain is also an ocean elder.
Absolutely.
And a member of the board of Mission Blue.
Thanks entirely to you. And I'm so grateful. Eternally grateful.
There are lots of other things that you do.
Yes.
Including dive with whales.
Yes, yeah. I'm going to start trying to share the screen here in just a second. Okay. We've both had the honor of traveling with you on expeditions and just observing your extraordinary skills with animals, large and small. Yeah. I know we're going to look at mostly large animals today, but maybe you can tell us what are some of your favorite smaller subjects that you've photographed?
I love nudibranchs. I absolutely love nudibranchs and porcelain crabs in Lembeh in Indonesia and in the Philippines. I love a bit of everything, basically. But I love a bit of everything, but I apparently I photograph larger animals better than small ones. And I kick up a lot of sand and muck when I'm doing macro, and I'm always scared of breaking corals. So when I'm in the open water with dolphins and whales and sharks, I'm usually slightly better at taking photos, I think.
I think you're a whale whisperer.
Yeah.
Possibly. Turtles seem to like me too. I seem to get along very well with turtles.
And dogs.
Dogs.
Yeah, well, including three-legged ones that adopted a year ago.
Absolutely adorable.
Right? Except when he tries to bite, which he's done to Sylvia.
That's what teeth are for.
We don't have to worry about sharks. It's just the little dogs, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you and Silvio recently, along with some of the other ocean elders, were in Tonga most recently with the humpback whales.
Absolutely. It was amazing, amazing, amazing. We're hoping to make that a hope spot and protect the whales even further and promote the good management of Tonga even better than it's already being done. And hoping to go back next year as well. And Sylvia was just being photographed with them. I think she only managed to do 4 days in the water. It was supposed to be 7. But Sylvia, do you think we can do that again next year?
Let's do it. Dive in.
Good.
And
really
French Polynesia.
Also, I'd also love to make a hope spot with your agreement.
Yes, the more hope spots, the better.
Right?
The whole ocean is one big blue hope spot.
It is. It is.
So Tonga, where these whales are, it's actually a kingdom. And in 1978, they elected to protect humpbacks and other whales. And prior to that, they had subsistence whaling. And the Tongan tribe of humpbacks is almost hunted to extinction. I did a little research on this, and it said that there were more than 4,000 of them that were hunted in and around Tonga and the Southern Pacific between 1911 and 1963. But worse than that, 48,000 of them were taken in their feeding grounds in Antarctica during the 1950s.
These are the same whales that make that journey all the way from the tropics to Antarctica.
Yeah, and It's incredible to think that their numbers were just driven down to where there's only maybe about 250 left.
Did you say 4,000 or 40,000?
48,000,
That's crazy. That's horrific.
right? And
That's horrific.
yeah,
When you think of that much, not just biomass, but these
Yeah.
are creatures that have a great impact on the world in which they live. They're, I mean, they eat a lot, of course, but they also give back nutrients that power the food for the things that they eat. It's a circular economy that's been going on for zillions of years. Well, certainly long before humans arrived, they were thriving. And we have, unfortunately, well, the good news is we've changed with respect to whales, at least. It's one of the brighter spots in terms of our relationship with nature. And since 1986, you know, the moratorium on the deliberate commercial killing of whales
Yeah.
has shown some signs of recovery.
hmm there's about 1,000 of them in this kind of the Tongan tribe at this point, up
Yeah,
from 250, which is a good improvement. It's
and there
still a
may have
long way to
been
go.
many more before.
It's pretty amazing. But
We can,
also, if I may interrupt, humpbacks are an incredible success story with conservation because we went from like, I think, 26,000 at the height of whaling in the Atlantic to over 110,000 today.
Yes,
Most whale populations haven't bounced back anywhere near that well. And I think humpbacks are a really good success story.
they really are, and they're such beautiful, interesting animals. They come to Tonga primarily to give birth to these wonderful little calves. Look how adorable this one is.
Right? Apparently, they're born at 4 tons, and most of the ones I see are like 5 meters long.
Just a teeny
The tiny ones are more protected by the mums. The mums who have tiny ones are much more protective and careful with their babies. But some mums really don't mind and let their kids do whatever they want and wander around freely and come see swimmers and don't stress for a second and just sit down there and watch their calves
Hmm.
who have to go up to the surface every 3 to 7 minutes because their lungs are smaller and they haven't trained diving yet. So the adults seem to stay down for 20 or 25 minutes, but the calves come up every 3 to 7. And when you have a curious one and a cute one, it's really, really fun to just sit there and observe them. It
Yeah.
they're just like puppies, though. They were human kids. They're curious.
they they really are. And one thing that's awesome is the mother stays with the calf for an entire year. Dolphin mums stay with their calves for 3 years, but whales stay with their calves for a year and train them and teach them and look after them and protect them. Which is just the most adorable. Oh, that's amazing. This guy or girl literally swam up to my friend and me over and over and over again and came within 2 meters over and over and over again. I had to back away from it because every now and again it would smack, well, it would touch me with its pectoral fins. And humpbacks are incredible because their pectoral fins are a third the length of their body, and their scientific name, Megaptera novaangliae, literally means New England bigwing. They're all over New England, and Megaptera means bigwing. Um, Sperm whales, their heads are a third the length of their body, and humpbacks, their fins are a third the length of their body.
Incredible.
They look like wings.
They
And
do, they really do.
they actually, don't haven't you observed them actually using their, not like a bird, but to power their way through the water sometimes? They use them in a way like a wing.
I'll
Do
bet
they?
you they must be able to rotate and turn kind of the shoulder and,
The power stroke.
power stroke.
Yeah, definitely. And I think people often worry about them hitting you with their pectoral fins and sometimes even with their tails, which are more powerful. Not that they're ever aggressive and they don't have teeth. They have baleen.
Mhm.
Uh, I have been touched by pectoral fins once or twice before and twice by a tail, but it doesn't really hurt too much because the water absorbs the shock.
Mhm.
It kind of feels like hard rubber. It's nowhere near as hard as metal or wood or anything like that. And the really playful ones like this are just unbelievable. They'll come right up to you and go crazy and spin around you and roll and all the rest. And this calf was so interactive, was absolutely unbelievable.
But Hussein, if they wanted to take you out, they could.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And some guy in Maria last year, I think, was smacked on the head by a tail. He dove down to take a photograph, maybe during a heat run, which
Boom.
you know is an exercise in seduction where up to 14 males will chase after a female in the hopes of breeding with her.
Mhm.
And this guy dove down, got smacked by a tail, and blacked out underwater. They had to pull him back up and look after him. So yeah, if they want to, they can for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really rare, though.
Yeah,
They really are
absolutely.
gentle giants.
Yeah. I have seen them. I saw it in when we were working with them up in Alaska. I saw kind of one in distress, and some orca were coming around and kind of harassing the one that was in distress, and the others kind of charged in at
Really?
speed, and they just started like breaching on top of the on top of the orcas and drove it away, drove them off. So
Amazing.
it was really amazing,
Mm.
and it was just incredible to watch that power and the way that it just like came to the like came to the rescue. It was incredible.
That is amazing. I have to say, everyone keeps telling me I should go and swim with the orca and photograph them. And I always say that first of all, it's really cold water, which I'm not into at all. And second of all, they kill everything I love. They eat dolphins. They separate whale calves from their moms and kill them. They eat shark livers. When they attack baleen whales, like blue whales, they bite their tongues out. And it takes, I think, a couple of years ago, there was 60 or 65 orca recorded trying to take down a juvenile blue whale, and it took hours. And
Wow.
once they killed it, they just grabbed the tongue and was
Oh,
shot. Just grab the livers. So whenever people say it goes swim with orca, I'm like, no, they kill everything I love:
yeah.
dolphins, sharks, whale calves. And then people are like, yeah, but they have to eat too. And I go, I know they have to eat. I'm not against them eating. I'm against them eating everything I love.
Yeah, it is. They are pretty brutal.
Well, they're a lot like humans.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this guy.
Oh my
Oh,
God, this guy was so unbelievable. This was week one with my incredible guide in Moorea, Manatea Kuro, with Moorea Sea Experience that I go with every year. And this was a juvenile, maybe 7 meters. They can be maximum 15 meters, 45 feet, humpbacks. But this guy was young. He must have been 7 meters, maybe eight. And he or she just hung down below us at the surface for 7 minutes.
Wow.
7 entire minutes just watching us. We know it's 7 minutes because the second guide, Johnny, took a 5 minute GoPro video and then followed it up with a 2 minute GoPro video. So this whale juvenile just literally watched us for 7 entire minutes and was only about 2 meters from me most of the time. We did maybe 5 or 6 swims with it, and it repeated that behavior 2 or 3 more times for less than 7 minutes, and sometimes deeper down than this. But it was literally one of the four most incredible experiences this summer. I
Hmm.
had two crazy adults come right up to us and swim with us and go berserk around us. Once in Moorea, once in Tonga. We had a mum and calf on the reef in very, very shallow water, which I think you might have in a photo coming up.
Yeah.
Really shallow water, which for animals that big is surprising. And then there was we had the whale calf that we saw earlier playing like a maniac in Tonga. But twice two adult whales, which are incredible and came all around us and just went berserk. The calf in Tonga, and then this calf here that observed us for 7 minutes.
Yeah. And then these ones here, it looks like they're in fairly shallow water. You can just see the edge of the reef or the,
Yeah, exactly. These were less interactive than the less in less shallow water and more difficult models than the ones that we have coming up in a bit. Fantastic.
yeah, there's
And
big sharks.
the escort was off to the side. You don't see him in the photograph. But what I love is that we call the males that hang out with the mothers escorts, and it's not the fathers and it's not the long-term loves. It's the random males who basically want to mate with the female during mating and calving periods in Tonga and Moorea. And they're not the husbands, so to speak, and they're not the fathers of the kids. They
Huh.
just want They just want to mate with the mother and protect the mother and impress the mother with their fatherly behavior with the calves, and keep all other prospective mates away.
Wow.
Maybe they like the company.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is
Totally.
this guy or girl was really really cute, and the way it crossed its fins like that is just unbelievable,
Mm-hmm. It's very, very pretty.
right?
All those lumps. It's a combination, isn't it? There's some barnacles, but those lumps are like the base for a single hair.
They are.
Animals.
Yeah.
That's the thing I find most amazing is that whales and dolphins were initially land animals that started feeding in the water and started feeding deeper and deeper in the water over hundreds of thousands or millions of years, and they eventually lost their legs and got fins.
Mm-hmm.
And like her deepness was saying, the nodules on their heads are actually vestigial hairs, and every little nodule has a hole in it in the middle, and one single hair sticking out of the hole. Sylvia showed me that last year, and when I look closely at my photos, I can see one hair in the middle of the nodule.
Wow.
Unbelievable animals.
And these the Tongan ones, they seem to have like a lot more white on the belly, and then I've seen some of them have like more white on the tail. Because I know when we were
Yeah,
studying the ones in Alaska that were going either to Mexico or to Hawaii, they had much
right,
more of a spotting and
right.
dark splotches and things on the tails where we
But
could really photograph them.
everyone is unique.
They're all unique, but
Yeah.
it seems like these guys have a much more uh, white on the underside of the tail.
So I think that southern hemisphere humpbacks have more black on them, and northern hemisphere whales have more white on them.
Mhm.
Uh, and some have entirely black bellies. I've never seen that. Actually, I did see one from far away, but there's a northern hemisphere and a southern hemisphere population. In theory, they don't cross over the equator, but Dr. Denise Hertzing, the dolphin specialist that Sylvia and I know, and you know, says that they have been known to cross over the equator now and again. So, but yeah, they have different levels of black or white on them between the two hemispheres.
All so unique.
And different, slightly different, call it language, if you will, but songs.
Hmm.
Right.
Mother Payne, Katie Payne, Scott McVeigh in the 70s did a lot of global analysis of humpback songs, and you know it's a humpback when you hear the song,
Yeah.
but if you're really tuned in, you can tell which year and which place that
Yeah.
is being sung. So it's different in Bermuda than it is in Hawaii,
Hmm.
and different in Tonga than it is in Australia. So they have just these regional dialects. And every year, this I thought was just astonishing that it changes slightly every
It
year.
does. It does. And as you know, it's only males that sing, and they only sing for about 25 minutes at a time, but repeatedly during the day. But only males, and they still don't know why. They now think it's more of a communication thing. They used to always say it was either to remove parasites or scare away others, or just for fun. And I know they have fun when they breach also. But
Yes.
they now think that breaching and singing are really just communication tools.
I wonder, I'm just more and more aware, and I think we're more and more aware about the amount of sound that we're introducing to the ocean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and just thinking about how that impacts animals like these and others that are so reliant on sound for communication.
Yeah, all of them make sounds.
Yeah.
Babies, moms, dads, all of them, but only the males apparently make these long, beautiful, melodious sequences of sounds that follow patterns that, according to those who are skilled in music, say that it's like music. You know,
Yeah.
they have stanzas and they have repeated patterns. And all of the whales in any place in any one year sing the same song, but toward the end of the year, it changes just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
Um,
interesting to figure out like what
what's going on?
what's
Yeah.
going on, what makes them
What
do
are
that.
they? What are they communicating with their?
So my understanding is that the song travels east to west, and all the songs in the same area, all the whales in the same area sing the same song, but eventually it catches on to other communities, other populations. I'm pretty sure it goes east to west. And as you say, the song changes every year, but they all sing pretty much the same song in any given year, apparently, which is
Amazing.
unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at this image. Oh my goodness.
You just want to come up and
That's a
belly
white-bellied whale
scratch.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
a dog. He's like, scratch my belly.
Oh, amazing. It's hard not to want to hug them
I
or
know, but
pet
you
them.
mustn't. Yeah.
Never do. Of course, we never ever do with wild animals, but they're so amazing and impressive. And when they show off their bellies like that, it's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Truly, every time. It's like you never get bored of the roll and the tummy ever.
Yeah. It's so very, very cool. So the tourism seems like it's become such an economic driver now for Tonga. And what
And globally.
and globally, and the
Mhm.
whales are really contributing. We've talked so much about the value of whales alive versus dead.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
was the math again? You quoted the math of it versus a
Oh, Ralph Chumney, who's
yeah, that's
an
right.
economist, really crunched the numbers and has come up with a pretty good analysis suggesting every whale is worth at least $1 million. And together, whales, that is the 8 or so species that are known as great whales,
Right.
$1 trillion collectively.
Hmm.
Amazing.
That's just the whales that are currently alive. If you take them to market, there's a value. You can sell a dead whale, but then it's gone.
Hmm.
And you know, with all the money in the world, you can't make one.
No, absolutely not.
And they've done the same kind of studies with sharks in the Bahamas.
Hmm.
As Sylvia said many, many times to me, a dead shark is only worth 60 or $70. An entire shark body is only worth 60 or $70 dead. But they've assessed that some sharks in the Bahamas are worth $2 or $3 million based on the number of tourists who come for shark diving. And if you count the
Right.
number of sharks in any given area, so $70 dead or 2 million alive, it's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the economic impact for the small island nations is incredible.
Palau was the first nation to just declare sharks protected throughout their entire exclusive economic zone.
Hmm.
Seems like a shrewd business decision.
Right.
Definitely.
There have been some concerns around sort of, like over loving the whales and it kind of led to some need for, a bit more rule making and people staying off them a bit.
Yeah.
How's that working out there in Tonga? Is there some legislation or is it just kind of uh, working with the local guides to kind of be more conscientious about the whales?
So that's a really good question. I was going to raise it myself. I think Instagram, which I'm all over and I love and I'm addicted to it. I call it Insta crack because I can't get enough of Instagram. Is to a certain extent terrible because everyone wants a selfie with the whales, or I've seen people do it with jacks. There was a school of jacks in Sipadan a couple of months ago, and people like literally were rushing the school of jacks, posing in front of them for the perfect Instagram selfie.
Hmm.
And certainly with the whales, some people are diving down closer and closer to them, scaring moms for their kids and all the
Oh,
rest and posing. We're supposed to stay minimum 10 meters away from the whales in Tonga and minimum 15 meters away from the whales in Moorea. Of course, if the whales come to you, that's their prerogative, and you don't necessarily swim away. I mean, we do swim away much of the time, but the problem is people approaching them and trying to get much too close for photographs.
mhm.
And I've also seen that for dugongs and for spinner dolphins I go see in Egypt every year. The dugongs divers are more respectful with them, but when the dinghy drivers drop off snorkelers, they practically drop the snorkelers on the dugongs' backs.
Oh,
And Sataya, where I've been going with spinner dolphins in Egypt for 11 years, it's gone from, I don't know, maybe 100 people in the water on any given day to more like 150. and people are all swimming right next to them and diving down on them. Whereas in the past, it was maybe one person out of 10 who was a very good free diver
Right.
going down and minding their own business and kind of not bothering the dolphins. Now everyone and their mother is swimming up to dolphins and diving down on them. So
Wow.
it's definitely become a problem. I think Instagram is become somewhat of an issue as well. But in Tonga, I think that now with Lord Whakawhenua, who's a new ocean elder like me, we're trying to pass some more stringent regulations and or just enforce the existing regulations.
Right.
So thanks to Sylvia and Jane Goodall and some whale and dolphin experts like Chris Butler Stroud from Whale and Dolphin Conservation, Matt Draper, the photographer, Michael Fishback from Whale Guardians. We all signed a letter asking an open letter. So did Sir Richard Branson and other experts to suggest that people abide by the regulations and that either they're those who don't are punished or there at least there are some more observers in there to make sure that the behavior is good.
Mhm.
But then I often feel like I'm part of the problem because I do go see these whales in Tonga. I don't dive down on them, I don't chase after them, but I do tourism for whales in Tonga, Maria, Dominica. I do tourism for dolphins in Egypt and the Bahamas. And of course, I go see the dugong every year in Egypt. So I almost feel like I'm part of the problem.
Mm.
No, it's it's treating others the way you would like to be treated.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's a real difference because the way you interact with these animals. I mean, I've watched you
Yeah.
in
I
the
have
water with
all
with a,
kinds of animals,
whether
and
it's yeah,
yeah.
including other divers.
Yeah.
It's just showing dignity and respect. And there is something about having just a crowd of people, too many at one time, can destroy or ruin the experience for everybody.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so common sense, it really, uncommon sense. No,
Right. And
it, it,
Yeah.
it, it just is logical. You don't want to kill the golden whale
no.
or
You
dolphin.
don't. You don't. A multi-million-dollar whale as well. So no, you really don't want to. I
Yeah.
think I think it's hard because a lot of these people have never seen wildlife before. They've never known what it's like to swim with a whale or a dugong. All their friends are on Instagram. You know, they want pictures of themselves with the animals, and people push the guides to let them get closer. People sometimes, I think, give money to captains or guides to let them to have them close their eyes a bit, towards the behavior of the swimmers. And I think it's very difficult. But as you say, respecting the animals is literally of the utmost importance. Utmost importance.
I agree. And especially because here, the young are really trying to grow and
Yeah,
nurse and
learn.
get their strength and learn because they've got that grueling journey to Antarctica ahead of them. So it's really important for them to, get fortified and get strong.
Yeah.
Is it 16,000 miles or 16,000 kilometers, 8,000 one way and 8,000 the way back? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
it's 6,000 kilometers each way, I think, something
Yeah.
like that.
Amazing. So yeah.
Yeah,
A round trip.
yeah. So it's
Depends on where their starting point
yeah, where
is.
their starting point is.
Yeah.
And how long do they usually stay in Tonga before what's kind of the season where they stay there before they head to Antarctica?
They arrive in late June and they leave in late October, early November.
Mhm.
I usually go in August, but I think I've been in October twice and there were almost no whales left. I went in October a year ago and October 2 years ago, but August this year. But both Maria and Tonga, they arrive around late June and they leave late October, early November. And
Mhm.
what's most amazing is that they don't actually feed in those places. They feed in more productive waters in Antarctica, and they live off their fat in Tonga and French Polynesia.
What is this guy doing?
I don't know if he was stretching his muscles or if he was actually trying to eat, but there's no krill in Maria or Tonga. But
No, it's
I did
just
see a calf do this repeatedly. And I saw this adult do that too. Um,
He's just like cleaning his baleen.
yeah, and they just let the water flow through a little floss.
yeah,
But it really gives you a great perspective on the size of the
So maybe he's burping. But
could be.
Possibly. Possibly. I didn't actually really notice because I get so stuck on what I'm doing with my camera, and I try so hard to perform well and to focus on the actual image that I didn't even really notice. Plus, my left eye isn't as good as my right one, and I don't see quite my camera eye doesn't see quite as well as I want it to. So now and again, I miss things.
Yeah.
But this was really incredible, truly incredible.
Yeah.
I'm not
And the
thinking.
calf that was doing it too was
That's,
amazing.
So Hussein, Liz and
Yeah,
I, we're here in California, and not far away, right on the coast, there was a whaling station that continued to take whales, including humpbacks, until the 1970s. And the moratorium globally on the commercial extraction of whales did not come into place until 1986.
right.
Some countries, and overall, when the number of gray whales, for example, got to such a low extent, it was feared that they would go extinct
Right.
even when the killing stopped. So they were protected even before the universal moratorium took place in 86. But the good news is that some of them, like the humpbacks, are coming back. It's not
Yeah.
true all of them, like the northern right whale,
yeah.
kind of stays right around 300 plus minus.
Yeah.
And
They had no calves at 2 or 3 years ago. They didn't record a single calf,
I
and it
know.
was
It's
a well population.
heartbreaking.
yeah,
Mm.
so we're at this moment in time when what we do or fail to do really is going to determine whether there will or won't be whales, and that has an impact on us.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's so great that you are bringing whales in such a way to a wide audience that if people could see the way you see them, and that's what you're doing, sharing that view. That I mean, here we are, the best chance.
You know, it's the most wonderful moments I have, I think, underwater are cetaceans, whales and dolphins, and the way they look at you and the way they can sense you and echolocate. And literally sperm whales read you. They
Hmm.
click all around you. They advance towards you. They click the whole time. They sometimes turn over onto their sides while clicking at you. People say that they can feel their chest reverberate when sperm whales click at them and read them. I've
Hmm.
never felt that. I think my chest is maybe either more solid or less sensitive than other people's, but they say that you can actually feel sperm whales read you. Dolphins recognize when a woman is pregnant, and they also sometimes use them for therapy for people with whether it's emotional problems or physical problems. So dolphins definitely notice you. Humpbacks also, of course, and we're often told at the surface not to make splashing noises and not to raise our voices too much because we don't want to scare the whales away at all.
Right.
But when you look in the eye of a whale, they always say that it's like they see through you. I've had it this year after seeing Rachel Moore's photo of the eye of that incredible whale that was struck by a ship 4 days later and died. After seeing her whale eye, I was trying to shoot a lot more eyes this year, but I always say it's like they can actually peer into your soul when they're looking at you. There's this communicate. They're so intelligent, and I think that's another thing that some people don't know quite how intelligent whales and dolphins are. And a friend of mine, one of the first environmentalists I met years and years and years ago in the late 80s, I said, we are not intelligent enough yet to know how intelligent whales and dolphins are. We
Correct.
we can't really assess their intelligence, but you can just tell. They raise their kids, they teach their kids how to dive. Orcas teach their kids how to hunt seals on the beach in Patagonia. They stay with their kids for a year. They have hierarchies, matriarchies in terms of sperm whales and a few other ones. They're just the most intelligent creatures, and you can really feel communication when you're eye to eye with a whale. You can literally really feel it. Same with a dolphin, but I think slightly less so.
Yeah.
Um,
You can feel it right looking at this image. You just
you really can.
see that beautiful eye and the way it's kind of just really focused in I guess in this case on you, but
Yeah.
And they've also been said to be, the humpback's been said to be sort of the most empathetic of the whales, that they've come to the rescue of like a seal that was being targeted by an orca, and they're just kind of like, I'm going to
Yeah.
tip the iceberg a little the other way, you know. Or the swimmer in Hawaii that they had the, large tiger shark that she had no idea it was there, but the humpback kept kind of staying between her and the tiger shark.
And
Uh,
pulled away on its pectoral fin.
mhm.
You
Yeah.
don't see the tiger shark in that video, but yeah, I remember seeing that video 3 or 4 times and hearing about it from every cetacean expert I know. That is pretty amazing.
Right.
Yeah, I think they also save dolphins and other things from sharks now and again. And there are these incredible photos and video of them having dolphins slide up and down their noses and playing with dolphins. Literally, the dolphins slide on their noses. And in Moorea, I've seen pilot whales with humpbacks before. I've seen spinner dolphins and bottlenose dolphins with humpbacks before. But in Moorea, the most incredible thing is watching humpbacks play with rough-toothed dolphins.
Oh,
The most I've ever seen is about 8 rough-toothed dolphins with 3 or 4 whales. But Rachel has photos of about literally 18 rough-toothed dolphins with 5 whales. They only do it for fun. There's no evolutionary advantage. There's no feeding or mating advantage whatsoever to either the whales or the dolphins. They just play together. It's hard to photograph because the dolphins are always really spread out and often far away, but it's just the most incredible thing to see. And sometimes the interaction between the whales and dolphins lasts only 15 minutes, and sometimes it goes for 2 hours. It's
wow.
the most amazing thing to witness.
Incredible.
You
And
often
that's sorry.
often see fish swimming with the humpbacks as well.
Do you really? I've never seen that. Really?
Yeah, of course. I know you have seen it with the remoras that some of them stick on the whales.
Oh yeah, remoras definitely.
Yeah.
Also pilot fish with whale sharks and pilot fish with sharks. But yeah, remoras, and they're interesting because they were considered commensals when I was a kid. It was considered that they benefited from their host animal but didn't harm it. And then around my mid 20s, they decided they're actually parasites because they do leave open sort of wounds and holes on their host animals, and they've now been reclassified as parasites instead of commensals.
Hmm.
I'm not so sure about that, but I am sure that the cookie cutter sharks take bites out of out of the humpbacks.
Terrific. And submarines, apparently. No, seriously, apparently they sometimes mistake submarines for whales.
Yeah.
They don't look at you as a potential
Yeah, no, they don't want to.
cookie.
No, yeah. Your flipper will come back a little different.
Hope not. Mind you, if I gain a bit more weight, they might. But those are really, really horrific animals. And I think they're pretty small, aren't they? Cookie cutter sharks, and they have like 6 billion teeth on this very, very round mouth.
Yeah.
Uh, very scary.
Look how different the underbelly of these two whales is. One of them so dark and the other one so light. Every
Yeah.
whale is unique, like every one of us.
Yeah.
That's such a obvious thing when you think about it. But most
The-
people, until
yeah,
recently, not really thought about that. When you think of them just as pounds of meat and barrels of oil,
yeah.
you just lose the fact that everyone has a personality, everyone has a face, everyone has a story. And it's great that you're telling their stories.
Yeah.
Well, I love them so much, and they're so intelligent and charismatic. These two were the crazy ones in Tonga, who we had just the once. We had 2 crazy whales in Moorea twice, but these two, the one to the left was what much more sociable than the one to the right. And the one to the right, it's not, but it wasn't the full body, it was just the face. And I think it was some kind of eczema or something. It wasn't barnacles. It
Huh.
wasn't some strange discoloration. Well, maybe it was discoloration, but the one to the left was entirely sort of dark gray black, and this one, only its cheeks were that color. Its stomach wasn't, its back wasn't. The dark one was much more playful, sorry. Now and again, the white-cheeked one would come close as well. There were 3 of us in the water with them, but they were just incredibly sociable, coming right up to us, less than 2 meters away. I had one touched me with its pectoral fin twice. And obviously you try and swim away from them because you don't want to hurt them. Even if they sense you well enough that they won't hurt you or hurt themselves, you never know and you always worry. So you swim away as fast as you can not to hurt them, which also gives you less good photographs than if you stay right there or approach them closer. But these two were unbelievable. And then I had a calf in Tonga that was also rolling right next to me over and over and over again.
There was
Um,
a white one, wasn't there, last year? I
sorry,
There was a all white one last year in Tonga, right?
two actually.
Wow.
That there
Interesting.
was, and I think probably the tourists and swimmers hassled it. They saw the one, which I think stayed in Vavau where we do the whale watching for 2 days. But then I guess it got hassled, and they saw it in Hapai, which I've never been to, but where Lord Whakawhenua lives. A few days later, I guess it maybe had enough of being photographed and swum with,
Hmm.
and but they thought only one albino whale calf. But then apparently they did some comparisons of photos and saw different tail patterns and coloration between the two albinos. So they realized they actually had two albino calves in Tonga last year. I
I've
didn't see one.
I have not seen an all white whale, but they images make them look like ivory.
Yeah.
They're just so beautiful.
And they always track and post about the one called a Migaloo.
In
Uh,
Australia, in
yeah.
Australia,
Yeah.
which I
So,
read recently hasn't been seen for a few years. They wonder
oh,
if
here.
he's dead or not. I'm
That's,
not sure, but I read that somewhere that he hasn't been seen for 3 years.
hmm, that's not a good sign.
Not a good sign at all. But he's famous down there. He's famous in Australia for being all white.
There's so many ways that whales can be harmed aside from using harpoons. They get tangled. We've been taking their food. They get struck by ships. I mean, the ocean is not as safe for whales as it has been for millions of years before we arrived. But good news, and it is good news, that as we get to know them, more and more people not only care about them, but want to do something to really proactively take care of them. Look at these two,
Right.
salt and pepper.
That's the
That's amazing.
I think two really big things, I guess, coming up. Well, one recently was this new legislation in the last couple of days of this new vote to end some of the industrial fishing subsidies, uh,
Yes,
right.
which can really help these guys because it, helps like make more food hopefully available to them and
less entanglement.
less entanglement because so many of these animals get hung up with their pectoral fins or their flukes or just net wrapped around their mouth, and they just perish that way. It's
Yeah,
quite horrific. And then of course we're hoping that we'll get some protection for the high seas.
right.
Maybe
We
next maybe next week.
So I have a talk in Geneva on the 23rd with WWF, and I'm definitely mentioning high seas and deep sea mining and how we'd like to really stop that as much as we can. But yeah, the whales are of paramount importance and the most incredible animals I know. Ship strikes at this point are a huge issue but they are with manatees as well, and I think they might become so with dugongs in Egypt and elsewhere. But you see scars on whale sharks, and you see lacerated dorsal fins on whale sharks. You see scars on other animals, and again, one of the reasons I really like Michael Fishback of Whale Guardians and the Great Whale Conservancy, other than the fact that he cares about every single animal more than most conservationists and conservation workers I know, but that actually he really cares and he's really trying to stop it. And you just see the most horrific thing. Again, I come back to Rachel Moore, who I only met at the UN conference in Nice with Sylvia. This incredible image she got, and that very whale she photographed the eye of, which she called Sweet Girl, got
Hmm.
struck by a boat and had literally the upper part of its mouth smashed and removed entirely and
Oh,
died in agony 2 years later, 2 hours later. It's really, really horrific. I think between entanglements, strikes, and the rest, it's very, very, very scary and bad. Apparently, humpbacks don't see as well as we thought. There was an article recently which said that their vision is much less good than we always expected, than we always assumed. And they said in one of the articles that they thought that might be why they get entangled more easily or frequently than some of the whales. But
Well,
they truly are some of the most incredible animals I know. Sperm
historic,
whales as well.
whether we have created a different ocean than existed for most of the history of the world. We've introduced obstacles that did not exist. I mean, the number of ships that are now out in the ocean,
Hmm.
the
Yeah,
nets, the garbage, all the stuff, the changes in chemistry. We've literally altered the nature of nature, and it's happened in your lifetime, in my lifetime, long before humans arrived at all. There were whales with no obstacles out in the ocean. So
yeah,
it's nothing in their history that has prepared them for the ocean that now exists. So it's no wonder that they are experiencing these difficulties.
Yeah.
yeah.
You saw the one where there was the mother and calf that was hung up in one of the Australian
Oh, the
shark
shark net.
the shark nets, right? And
Right.
it's just terrible. I mean, the mother was just working to keep the baby at the surface so it could breathe. And he was just kind of being pinned by this net. And it was really fortunate that rescuers were able to come and get them free. But how long could she keep that effort up without
Yeah.
just getting to a point of exhaustion?
Yeah, which also reminds me of the amount of the dive time that they have. And humpbacks, it's about 45 minutes, though they say that in Tonga it's 20 to 25 minutes they stay under. But I know they can go for 45. Um, the baby is only 3 to 7 minutes. But dolphins can only stay in the water underwater for 5 to 8 minutes. Apparently, 8 minutes is if they're hunting or being hunted, they can maybe go for 8 minutes without dying. But dolphins is sort of 3 to 6 minutes. Um, I think sperm whales it's an hour. I think humpbacks can be an hour, but it's usually 20 to 25 minutes. But the beaked whales can go for over 3 hours. They clocked a beaked whale at 3 hours and 10 minutes a couple of years ago, and I think now it's like 3 hours and 45 minutes. I don't know if it's a Bad's beaked whale or Cuvier's beaked whale, but beaked whales stay down much longer than all other whale species.
That's incredible. And they've even seen these wallows that some of them make in very deep water. No one could figure out what the heck they were until someone kind of caught one on video from an ROV. But they make these
Doing
little
what?
little divots in the bottom of very deep water. They kind of
Right.
go down there and scratch around.
So where was this image taken, Zane?
I think that's Tonga, but I'm not 100% sure. I did 2.5 weeks in Tonga. I think, yeah, 9 to 23 August in Tonga, and then I did 23 August to 12 September in Moorea.
What do you do with all the photographs? How do you keep track of them?
Thank God I have two amazing guys who've been with me since 2004 and 2005, respectfully.
You need that.
Antonin Potosky has been with me since 2004, and Patrick Corobien has been with me since 2005. I don't know how they've put up with me for 20 years, but I produce 300,000 images every year. And of course, it's much easier now with digital than it would have ever been with film. And Antonin goes to 300,000 or more images every year. Patrick goes through them a bunch as well.
Which
Uh, get rid of the trash, pick out the best ones, show them to me. I go through them, maybe 10% of what I shoot. And if I don't love what they've picked, I ask them to go back into specific files or specific days, and I sometimes do that with them.
Mhm.
But I don't have the time to do it myself. But also, I don't think I'd have a life, a family, dogs, friends if I did it all myself. But I'm not objective at all. You know,
this
the
this image is just so powerful. I love this. They really, they're going places. Look how sleek the adults are, and the little one just powering his way through. Love it.
truly amazing. And that was the hyper social whale in Tonga. I mean, hyper like he literally that calf came up to us over and over and over again.
Just exuberant.
We
It's
couldn't respect the 10-meter rule because it would come up within 1 meter and a half of us, roll right under us. It hit me with its pectoral fin a couple of times. Well, I mean, I'd say it bumped me with its pectoral fins. It didn't really hit me.
Yeah.
That was one of the most amazing calves I've ever had.
That's
The other one
incredible.
that stood out of that calf in Tonga stood out. The two crazy adults, which are huge, stood out as well. And then we had the two crazies in Moorea 3 days before the end and the very last day. And that was really nice because I had four completely empty and somewhat boring, disappointing days in Moorea before the end. My partner who shoots video, Simone Piccoli, who's my guide in Egypt for the dolphins, had a mum and calf come very close on one day that I skipped. But I had four bad. I mean, bad. It's all relative, right? If you see a whale, it's a good day. But comparatively speaking, and we get very spoiled. We get very spoiled by the good stuff that you tend to think other things are bad when they're not. Simone got a mum and calf, but I had four bad days, so essentially 5 days with nothing. And the very next day, we had the two incredible adults that came super, super close and played with us over and over again. And that was my goodbye from Moorea. We had two whales swimming slowly, but we dropped in with two whales now and again, maybe 4 or 5 drops. And as we were going home, we saw the two crazies playing next to a yacht, a huge sailboat, and got in the water with them.
That is so cool.
Amazing.
Amazing. It was the best goodbye you could ever have. Unfortunately, my memory card was full in the end and we had to leave quite soon. They were really incredible animals.
There's
We're
no
gonna,
question.
yeah, we actually have a little stack of questions. We're gonna try to get through what we can.
Okay.
Any we can't, we can always take offline. But Farhan is asking, beyond the beautiful images and success stories, what is the single biggest inconvenient truth about the state of our oceans
Hmm.
that you feel that the world is still pretending not to see?
I
Yeah,
think we should ask Sylvia about that. But to me, I think that, Sylvia always says that we treat fish and ocean stuff not like wildlife, but as food and tools.
products.
Um, for me, I think the big problems which we hear about all the time are climate change, plastic pollution, other pollution, overfishing. With climate change, obviously, comes rising waters, flooding of cities, flooding of human habitation, rising waters, and a whole bunch of other things, including icebergs melting and the water becoming more acid, more carbon in the water, less oxygen in the water. And of course, coral bleaching, which comes from that as well, because if the coral has water that's too warm, the algae that the coral lives with, that the polyps live with, dies, and then the coral itself dies and becomes white. Coral bleaching, acidification, from the water, rising waters, and then I think you have overfishing, plastic pollution, which is becoming really, really awful. And I didn't see plastic in the water till a trip to the Philippines in 2017. It's all over Indonesia. It's even in Sardinia where I grew up. During COVID, I was in Sardinia for the whole summer. That's where I saw my first and only fin whale and photographed that. It's on the beaches in Sardinia now. Even in the Galapagos, which is one of the best protected, most maintained, kept, and one of the most isolated places in the world. There's plastic in the Galapagos. There's plastic everywhere. It's been found in the gut of every marine organism assessed. Been found in the gut of 100% of turtles that have been assessed in some studies. So I really think plastic, overfishing, and climate would be the main ones. Sylvia, what do you think? And Liz, what do you think?
I think the good news is we are beginning to recognize that there are problems and we can measure them. We can
Yeah.
communicate. We can show the good news, but we can also show the dangers that we have created. Whales cannot fix the problems that we have created, but we can.
But
And
whales are carbon sinks, which is one amazing thing.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah,
Right.
it's another something that we know. They don't know that.
Yeah, true, true, true.
So we're gifted with the knowledge that no other creature has. We know that we have put ourselves as well as whales at risk. The challenge is, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
have the best chance we will ever have right now is wake up, understand why we have to take the actions plural, that
Hmm.
will change this trajectory of decline to recovery. That's the good news. We
Yeah.
can do
And
that.
yeah, and that's why you always say that the decisions we make during the next 5 years will affect the next 1,000 years. And on that thing about destroying the planet and the decimation of wildlife, Jane Goodall always says that we consider ourselves the most intelligent animals out there, but we're also the only animals dumb enough to destroy their own habitat.
Yeah.
So destroying ourselves at the same time as wildlife. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna try to get a few more here. Steve is saying, great news about the increasing whale population, but what about the decrease in what they feed on in Antarctica in particular?
Yeah.
It's an absolute travesty, and I was Googling that for my talk, which is in Geneva in 5 days, in which I haven't finished writing. I think it's 450,000 tons of krill taken out of the Southern Ocean every year now.
Yeah. And for
It's
what? Krill oil or
to
animal
feed
feed?
fish and to feed fish.
Yeah,
Of
it's
thing.
insane.
Feed farmed fish like salmon
Yeah. And chickens.
and cosmetics. I mean,
Are you
Cosmetic.
serious?
Yeah.
Really? Oh my
Yeah, yeah.
God.
It's unbelievable, but
but
that's where consumers can have a huge impact.
and make different decisions.
Yeah. Get your algae oil instead of your krill oil.
I had my incredible housekeeper who looks after all my fish tanks. I have a lot of fish tanks both in Paris and Geneva. Was buying krill for the cichlids, for my African cichlids that was being suggested by the shop, and it's such a travesty and it's so horrifying. I'll never do that again. 450,000 tons of krill, which
Yeah.
whales feed on, penguins feed on, seals feed on. Their entire food web is getting destroyed for human greed and to feed fish. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a climate issue,
Mm-hmm.
among other
Is it also a climate issue?
climate issue. We're taking the life out of the ocean
Yeah.
that needs to stay in the ocean. The carbon. If you think of every living thing as a carbon-based unit,
Yeah.
if you think like Spock,
So funny.
Okay, our next question. Let's see. Have you noticed or observed long-term shifts in behavior, movement, or social patterns of whales and other species over the years in regard to the increasing human footprint?
Someone asked me that in Dubai a month and a half ago, and I think I've seen massive changes in coral. And I've been to the Maldives 5 times since I went with my mother and my sister in 1989. I went in 89, 2003, 2004 with Tom Peshak in 2015 to photograph manta rays. And every time I go to the Maldives, the coral is less good. Even at home in the Bahamas, the coral is nowhere near what it was like in the late 80s when I started diving. And plastic everywhere. So there's plastic everywhere now. There was, I'm sure it was out there, but now it's set to increase fourfold by 2050. I'm sure it was out there, but I never saw it until 2017. Now I see it absolutely everywhere. So I see changes in the environment. I haven't really seen changes in behavior yet.
Mhm.
I hope I never do. It would be horrific if I did.
I know.
well, see changes in the positive way.
Yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
in a positive way.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and Stephanie is asking, how do you find the fine line between being stern, but also letting people have experience with the animals?
I think again, I think it's very scary what's happening in some places around the world now. And I think as much as I love Instagram and call it Insta crack, I think Instagram isn't necessarily the best thing in the world. And I think that you can't control everyone, you can't educate everyone, but an educational video or talk before people go in with whales or sharks or anything else will be very, very useful. Certainly, what I've seen with the spinner dolphins in Egypt is horrific. What I've seen in images with whales in Tonga, but haven't experienced firsthand, has been horrific. And again, I feel like I'm part of the problem sometimes. I go and swim with the dolphins, I go and swim with the whales, I go and swim with the dugongs. I'm obviously trying to spread stories and raise awareness and help save them as best I can. But we need more regulations. We need possibly to have more observers, more patrols, and we need some harsher, I think, consequences for people who are breaking the rules.
Hmm.
Then
Great.
again, if you can convince a guide to let you go close to the animals, and if some guides are taking money from clients who want to get close to the animals or want to have special treatment, you also wonder what would happen with patrols. We'd certainly want more patrols in some places, but you wonder, how long the patrol people would really care and how much effect they would have. But I think between enforcing regulations that are there, creating new regulations if they're not good enough, and enforcing them, it's will be very, very, very good.
Yeah,
Very.
constantly evolving.
But the idea of being able to experience what you experience, and it's so fortunate you can share the view. Not
Mhm.
everyone even has an opportunity to get in the water or
Yeah,
close to whales,
Yeah.
showing who they are and why we should respect them. That this is not a challenge. This is just a privilege. And if we treat it that way, if people treat others with dignity and respect, we go a long way toward having a peaceful world.
absolutely.
And an immense privilege, and I feel so lucky every time I go in with them and dolphins and sharks. Massively privileged.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
like you, it's a life calling, and it's almost a drug. Like I can't imagine not going in over and over again and seeing these animals and recording them and wanting to raise awareness about them and sing their praise. And just like you said in an interview a couple of months ago, you can't imagine stopping traveling, stopping swimming, stopping diving. You can't imagine it. I can't imagine it either, underwater or on land.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask one question, then we have to close. But when and where is your next exhibition coming? Is
So
it
I
like,
have I have a talk with WWF in Geneva on the 23rd. And then I don't have anything planned for a while. I had the heaviest exhibition year was last year, which was 13 events, 8 big ones and 5 small ones. This year it's been almost all expeditions, and almost no shows. But my trips coming up are Raja Ampat very briefly in February, Fakarava and Rangiroa with George Duffield from Blue Marine Foundation and some friends in very late February, early March. I'm doing the Sardine run with Tom Peshak's ex-assistant and possibly Tom Peshak in late June, early July. Um, I'm hoping to do a major show in Geneva soon. I'm hoping to do a major show in Paris soon, and that would be really nice because it would be close to home and I wouldn't have to ship things thousands of miles across the planet. Um, and I could bring friends and family that are closer to home. So I'm hoping to do Geneva and Paris soon, but there's a small show in Geneva from like the 20th till the 24th or 25th at the same time as my presentation with WWF on the 23rd coming up.
perfect? Well, we are a little bit past the top of the hour. But before we close, I'd really like to say thank you so much,
Thank you,
Prince
thank you, thank
Hussein,
you.
and to our producers, the Ocean Elders, and of course to all of the members of our diving community who continue joining us and having these wonderful conversations, where water connects us all, and we're so grateful to everyone. Our schedule is going to be a bit erratic in the next little bit. We have a climate week coming up. You're going to the IUCN World Congress. But until next time, remain
And then
curious.
coming to me for a board meeting in the Bahamas.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, you're going there too. All so
Thank you
remain
so much for
curious.
having me. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a privilege and an honor, and
Yeah,
I'm really, really grateful. And I love you, Sylvia, so, so much.
thank you
We
so
all love
much.
the ocean for sure. We must.
And take
You
care
got
of the ocean as if your life depends on it, because
Because
it.
because
it does.
Does.
It
Yeah.
does. Thank you, everyone. We'll see
Thank
you
you
next
so, so much. Talk to you soon.
time. Bye
Thanks.
now.
Bye bye. Bye.